Well, hello, and welcome to Trash with a capital T, where we give trashy books and movies the love they truly deserve. I'm your host, Bobby, and new videos are posted here every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Now that the preamble is out of the way. This was not actually the video I was planning on doing, but it is the video that I ended up being able to do because I was going to do the fourth Animorphs book, and I don't know why. I've just been struggling to sit down and read it. My brain makes no sense to me. I'm not expecting it to make sense to you guys. But I was getting this urge to read something kind of in the vein of Goosebumps. And I had something on hand on my TBR that has been there for a while. So I was like, this is the perfect chance. Why don't I do this? It fits what my brain is kind of feeling. So I read the first Spine Shivers book. This is The Grin in the Dark by J.A. Dark. That is not the author's real name. Obviously, the actual author is listed as Eric Stevens in the about the author page. There's also illustrations in here, not a ton, but what's here is really good, by Nelson Evergreen. Um, Obviously, cover is freaking great. This is a middle grade horror book. That cover goes hard for a middle grade horror book. It's quite freaky, but it's beautifully done. The book itself, it clocks in at about 108 pages. It's a middle grade horror book. It really isn't in the vein of Goosebumps. Goosebumps tends to lean a little more silly. R.L. Stine likes a lot of pranks and jokes and kind of gross out gags. And this book does not have any of that. We follow a 14-year-old boy named Hamid who is babysitting his little cousins, Ahmed and Afifa. And they are complaining of nightmares. Their mother is obsessed with clowns, but she's had to take all her clown paraphernalia and put it in storage because these kids are having nightmares of a giant clown walking into the room and standing over their bed watching them sleep. Um, and as Ahmed, or not Ahmed, Ahmed's the little boy, as Hamid is going through the house, getting settled in while he's babysitting these kids, he finds this giant clown doll in his aunt and uncle's bedroom. And he's like, well, this is why the kids are having nightmares. They didn't put this away. Why would they leave this here? And he has some creepy encounters. Hamid has some creepy encounters with this clown doll. The overall book, great premise, definitely leans into the When a Stranger Calls opening scene. Obviously, for middle grade readers, but not enough happens for me to really say this was successful. Now, I'm trying to come at this if I was a kid reading this. As an adult, I really was disappointed because I found some of the twists were not twists. Like, I'm going to go to full spoilers. The big twist is it's not a clown doll, it's a guy in a clown suit or clown makeup, who is hiding out in the house from an escaped convict who is coming after him. And it's not there's not enough tension. There are some great creepy moments, but overall the book lacks a lot of tension. And even as a kid, if I was reading this, I would feel that. Now, there is a great scene. It's a dream sequence, though. Now, unlike the fake outs we get in Goosebumps, this one we know it's a dream sequence. There is a dream sequence that is quite creepy. There are some creepy moments, but there's not really enough to sustain the entire book. And this book is only 108 pages, so that's a little disappointing. There is no big confrontation with the clown at the end. Basically, the escaped convict, who were kind of hinted at throughout the entire book, shows up. They have a confrontation off page, and it ends. The ending aims for kind of like a dark twist, but it's a little too late. The problem, I think, is when you're writing middle grade horror, and I see this with a lot of these kinds of books, is they never know how hard to push the horror or how dark to go. And it is a fine line because you are writing a kid's book. So you do need to make sure this is age appropriate for the intended audience. This one, it plays it so safe that I think this author wasn't sure how far he could push it. And he was scared to push too hard. I have read other books that are written for the same age group that do go a little harder in the creepy and the horror. There's a series of books called Creepover. I had actually bought two of those around the same time I bought this, and I did read those. And they balance the horror much better. They made when you're writing something like this for kids, my best advice as a reader is aim for something kind of along the lines of Twilight Zone or Night Gallery, something the old Rod Serling stories would do. He was able to do a lot and scare a lot of people without too much on page violence or gore or anything that was too intense. There was a lot, that is like the best model I can think of for this kind of book, because you're able to get the creep, you're able to get the tension and that solid pacing, but you're not overwhelming the reader with too much visceral horror. And I think this was kind of going for that, but it didn't work. And then there's this whole thing: is the clown actually real? Is it not real? But the way the story's written, it's very obvious it's real. But then no one believes Ahmed, and it's like, I'm coming at this very negatively. So let's look at some of the positives. There are some really good creepy scenes in here. And I'm sure for like a 8-year-old, 9-year-old reader, because this book is written, it actually feels almost a little first chapter booky in the writing style. It is written a little younger, even though the character is 14. The main character is 14. It does feel like it's written a little younger. I have a feeling for younger readers, so we're talking younger than middle grade. So for early readers, this would creep the heck out of them. And those creepy moments are effective. The ending is where I had my biggest problem with it. But there are good creepy moments in there. There's some decent atmosphere because there's this big storm going on. And yeah, it's got moments in there that work. The writing is simple but effective. Hamid as a main character is actually quite enjoyable. He the author, I keep forgetting his real name. Eric Stevens avoids making him kind of like that cool dude character you get in Goosebumps a lot. He feels like a more natural 14-year-old kid. He's not a jerk to his cousins. He's actually generally pretty nice. He doesn't do a lot of like goth teenage moves. He feels like a very likable main character. I also like the fact that, I mean, it's never clearly stated what their background is, but from names, main characters, all the main characters in this book are of Middle Eastern descent, which you really didn't see in the Goosebumps series. I don't even know if you see it now. So it was nice to have that diversity in there. It doesn't become a big part of the story. It's just there, which is actually the right approach. And I did enjoy that part. So the characterizations were fine. The little kids, he avoided making the little cousins, who are supposed to be about 7, he avoided making them annoying, which does take talent, because little kids, especially in these books, can be exceptionally annoying. I had recently read a Ghost of Fear Street book where there was a character who was around the same age as the twins, the niece and nephew, or the cousins in this one, who made me want to like rip what was left of my hair out. These characters, he avoids a lot of those tropes. He tries to write them a little more natural, a little more realistic, and I appreciated that. This is also, I believe, the first book in the series. So this also could just be working out some of the kinks of how to make the series work. And I'll be interested. I do plan on checking out the other ones in this, maybe not right away, but, you know, there's some good looking ones in there. And the writing is not bad. I read this in an hour. Like, this, and that was because I was, like, stopping and doing other stuff. This reads really quick. And for my kind of reading, where it's a lot of, like, bringing down my anxiety and kind of relaxing, these kind of things actually work really well for me. I'm not saying they're going to work for everybody, but as like that kind of anti-anxiety reading where it's very low impact reading, this worked pretty well. So I would probably check out more. I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just saying it does have issues that I hope get addressed in later books. So do I recommend Spine Shivers, The Grin in the Dark? Maybe. This is kind of it's okay book. It's not the greatest. But if you can find a copy for cheap, I think the physical copies are actually out of print, but there are digital copies still out there. If you can find it for a decent price and you got an hour and you want to just read something very light and kind of creepy, I would say check this one out. But it's not a must. It's not a must. And there are a lot better books out there. But still, you could do a lot worse. And I mean, look at that cover. That is a great cover. All right. So general housekeeping, new videos come out here every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. I am putting an end to the special episodes that we've been doing on Wednesdays. Occasionally, just because I can't commit to doing them every Wednesday and they get buried. So, just going to my normal 4 videos a month schedule. Yeah, we're not taking any breaks for the holidays. We're just going to plow right into the new year. So, everybody have an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening. Love what you love. Enjoy what you're reading and watching. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.